what's up guys? So today I want to talk about the map of tiny perfect things. This is a new film that was just released on Amazon Prime Video. It is a sci-fi romantic comedy drama directed by Ian Samuels. It stars Kyle Allen as high school student Mark, who is trapped in a time loop situation where he keeps reliving the same exact day every morning over and over again and has no idea how to get out of it. This film takes great inspiration from Groundhog Day, yet the twist here is that there appears to be someone else in this film who is also going through a time loop. That happens to be Catherine Newton's character Margaret, who Mark randomly sees during a fun adventure as he's trying to woo a girl who is about to get hit by a beach ball in the pool. So much of this film is dealing with both of these characters meeting each other and figuring out how to go about this situation. But where the film gets its title is in the idea of these little tiny perfect things that happen every single day that none of us are aware of. It's these little moments in time that get captured that are just, for some reason, they are just perfect. They are almost indescribable in nature because they are just so, in a way, beautiful. And some of them are more obvious than others, but it's amazing how much of these things we probably don't realize are happening all around us all the time. This film is actually based off the short story of the same name by Lev Grossman, who also did the screenplay for the film. So I would think that the source material here is in good hands, but for those of you who may have read the short story, I would love to know what you thought, if you think it's worth reading, if you think one is better than the other, etc. Now, one of the things I really enjoyed about this film was the way it was edited. It has that, typical thing we may have seen in other time loop films where people can make sure they stop something from happening if they know there's going to be something bad or things like that. But this film finds a way to do a lot of really clever little things, and in a way it's almost flashy, and they're trying to show off a little bit, which I don't mind in this case because it's a lot of fun, especially through the eyes of teenagers. But it does give way to some of the believability situations where there are moments where you think somebody might interject and say, what are you doing? But the film doesn't really allow that to happen. I think that's where some of the comedy comes in and some of the ridiculousness of certain situations. But the film had so much charm, and in the way they were trying to pull it off, it just worked. I also really like the characters. Everyone in the film does a great job acting. None of the performances are, going to go on to get big awards or anything like that, but everyone does a great job. The characters of Mark and Margaret and their relationship, I think, really tie this film together. I like the motivations. We see how Mark is kind of stuck in his presence. He's not sure what he wants to do with the rest of his life, his future, so he's partially enjoying this time loop. At the same time, he is getting to a point where he kind of wants to find a way out. And Margaret, well, there's kind of this mystery behind her character. There's some people in her life that we aren't too sure about, and we don't really understand, but for whatever reason, she is not that interested in moving on from this one day. She's perfectly fine with keeping it the same day over and over again. This creates an interesting dynamic, especially when Mark starts to develop feelings for Margaret. Now, I will say, going into this film, I was a little apprehensive. I was worried that maybe it was going to come off maybe too young adulty for me. But none of that really happened. I think partially because I was very unfamiliar with these two lead actors. I'm only aware of Catherine Newton being in another film I want to see, that horror comedy with Vince Vaughn called Freaky. But other than that, I don't know either of them, so I felt like I was really invested in the characters and I wasn't distracted by the actors. By the way, did anyone else think Kyle Allen looks basically just like he could be Joseph Gordon-Levitt's son? Because, my God, the entire movie I just kept staring at this guy going, "You are Joseph Gordon-Levitt Jr." I also really enjoyed how well paced this film is. It goes by nice and quick, and the music especially helps give this sort of relaxing, more lighthearted feel to it. It never feels too dramatic, even in those moments. But I think what really ties this film together are the tiny perfect things, and that ends up being the kind of main draw to the film, is what the characters' motivations of trying to find and develop this map of all these tiny perfect things around the world, around their area, and try to capture them and remember them. And it does become pretty essential to the plot, which I won't get into, but for those of you who are kind of wondering what purpose it serves, it definitely has a big purpose, as we see later on in the film. One of the only things I guess I have a gripe of is the fact that there are a lot of pop culture references. In this case, I do think it works for this film, but I'm never that big of a fan of movies that just constantly bring up things where if you don't know them, then you either aren't going to get the joke or aren't going to understand the situation, and it won't be as, interesting to you. But with this film, I think the fact that it does reference Groundhog Day is very important. Anything else is, just kind of icing on the cake, but I do think if you haven't seen that film, it probably would be good to watch it beforehand. But you can certainly watch this film on its own. It doesn't require that. Overall, this is a very enjoyable film that came out during a week where, there's just so much to stream right now. We got all these award winners. I hope you check out this little hidden gem that a lot of people probably aren't that aware of right now. It, as I said, is available on Amazon Prime Video for subscribers. It's full of heart, enjoyable characters, and a fun twist on that whole time loop genre that I'm sure a lot of you have seen before. And that's why this film is a diligent pick. So guys, have you seen The Map of Tiny Perfect Things? I'm really curious if this is a film that you're interested in watching. Like I said, I do think this might be a nice hidden gem that a lot of people are unaware of. I do think it might have gone under the radar for some people, so definitely give it a watch if you have Amazon Prime, and I highly recommend checking out Groundhog Day or any of the other time loop films out there. Happy Death Day. Let me know how many of those you have seen, because I'm sure there's a few that I haven't seen yet either. As always, my name is Dylan, and if you love entertainment, subscribe to my channel while this video ends and send me a thumbs up before you go. Thanks for watching, and stay diligent.